We could probably invent some sort of wheel of business life.
Putting everything into balance. Hey, it's Business Technicalities, and I'm Brett Chittum with Lawrence Systems, and I'm here with
Jason Slegel from CNWR.
And we want to talk a little bit about this new year coming up. Well, not coming up, we're in it now. We're in the midst of this new year. It's the 3rd of January, and we've got a lot in place already and a lot going on. I looked at today in my calendar and was surprised by how much I have to get done today as opposed to, what I normally do. But talking about your priorities, because I have a lot to do today. Jason, you probably have a slew of things to get done today as well.
Yeah, I need to actually go through my calendar and stuff and try to figure out what I should be working on.
Yeah, it's crazy because what I try to do, and we've talked about this a lot, is priorities and setting those priorities into putting them into motion and actually doing things. Um, one of the things that we talked about in a couple previous shows back was the Lee method, right? And
Yes.
and setting the 6 priorities down, and
Yep.
it's a crazy thing to actually go through and do, because when you plan and you do these things, what are some of the things you're doing in setting your priorities?
I mean, I hinted this last week when I think we talked about the other side of this, the pre-planning side of it.
Yeah.
We're in a US shop, attraction shop. I saw you had a copy of it now, so
I do, right here.
hopefully you'll read it. So we actually have our quarterly, actually our yearly goals and our rock set, right? So we know what we're working on there. And we just make progress on them. I have a couple that I missed from the end of last quarter that I need to, they're like 85% of the way done. So probably my first priority of this year is going to be to go ahead and push them over the line. It's the work is done. It's the putting it to paper, right? So we're trying to do some more co-managed stuff. So we're starting to productize some of those co-managed things, like what does managed backup, if we're going to do just managed backup, what are the guardrails on it? And so I've got all of it down. I just have to turn it into the actual statement of work we'll use to do it, which is the part of it I hate. So
But you do such a great job at it. What are you talking about?
I've been putting it off because it's my least favorite part of the thing. So I have it all. I'll probably finish it up today.
No, your statements of work are awesome. I've seen a number of them, and you do it. I'm jealous on how well you do those. But back to priorities, because I guess you got a lot of things. I got to ask you this question: what's your number one priority in your business?
I have a growth target, right? I'm aiming at greater than 20% a year growth on the MSP side of the house. So it's, just driving towards that, right? So basically, we set a growth number. I actually think that number is higher than that this year. It's probably 25% looking at the actual numbers.
Yeah.
So we work backwards from that, and that is the priority. And we work backwards from that and break that into digestible little bits. Like, this is what we have to hit sales wise to get there. Sales wise, these are the things we have to put in place. Other priorities, we got the certificate of occupancy for our building in the middle of late last week. So it's a priority for me to be out of the space we're in here in January. So, I got a lot of work to do to get that done. All this stuff has to pack up and it's got to move to its new home. Eventually I'll have a studio there where we can do these things, or I can do these things. But it'll be probably my desk for a little bit until I get all that set up. But that's a huge priority for us too in the first month of the year.
You've been working hard at that too, and it's an important thing for you as you grow and get your business mindset continued to move forward and press on. Yeah. So before we started the show, we were talking about the wheel of life, right?
Yep.
I like what you said in this when you go through, because I asked you the question: is this an order? And I haven't gone through this before, but I've seen this graphic before. When you look at career, financial, spiritual, physical, intellectual, family, social. What do you say to somebody when they're looking at a wheel like this? Which one should they focus on first?
I don't know. I mean, the thing kind of implies an order with the way the little pieces fit together there, but
Right.
I don't believe in that, right? Like the discussion we were kind of having, pre-show was, set yourself a priority in each of
Mhm.
those locations, right? Are you happy where you're at in your career, right? If you own your own business, like that's the pinnacle of
Yeah.
career success, right? So it's like set a work related goal, set a financial related goal, a spiritual goal. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not, right? Like it's set a
Mhm.
inner personal goal, a physical goal, right? I have several physical goals. I'm signed up for several events that some of which are pretty long and pretty physically demanding.
Right.
And I'm, on this weight loss journey right now. So, kind of set a goal for each one of those things. And in those should drive, to me, it should drive a lot of your priorities inside of your business, right? Like these are personal goals and personal priorities inside of your business. Obviously that's a little bit different.
Mhm.
There's probably, we could probably invent some sort of wheel of business life
Right.
and work those out.
Well, I like what Zig Ziglar has done in doing that life balance, right?
Yeah.
And putting everything into balance when you think about um the even getting down to, what's your soul, because there's got to be social interaction. We as humans are
Hmm.
socially um we need to connect with something or someone. Um so when you're thinking about your priorities and in that but back to business priorities,
Yeah.
you're right. We should create a wheel like that and market the hell out of it.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm big on this quest of, make prioritize gaining knowledge,
Mhm.
right? Like in all the things you do, just prioritize learning. It will help you if if you're a small business owner, you have a lot to learn, right?
Mhm.
Because especially if you're a small shop, I mean, we're medium sized. I think we're up to 14 now, maybe 15.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, so we're medium sized. We get to specialize a little bit, but the smaller you are, the more hats you wear. You guys are about half our size employee count wise, I think.
We're like at yeah, we've got 8 plus a number of contractors that do a lot of things for us, so
But you wear a ton of hats. So
yeah, I
you,
wear a lot.
including that one with the dog on it.
You like fierce.
I do.
Thank you,
So
Sean Lardo, for this hat.
so there's always stuff to be learning, and what
Mm,
I find, especially the smaller shops and the one man shops are probably the pinnacle of this is they have an area, a pillar of the business that they're good at, and it comes at the cost of all of the other pillars, right?
right.
So I would set, if that was me, and it has been me, and we were not always this size, set a priority to increase those other pillars,
Mhm.
right? One of the big things that I'm going to start trying to do this year is 10 pages a day reading. Like that's it.
Mhm.
That's a really achievable goal. What, five
That
minutes, 10
is.
minutes, right? Like just pick a book, read 10 pages of it a day. There's literally no excuse, right? Like you can find 10 minutes somewhere other than not watching this video.
Yeah, right. There are 10 minutes. We all have the same hours in a day,
Mhm.
right? And I think the people that set priorities and goals that are obtainable, and you said earlier, they have to be hard. You
Yeah.
can't just set an easy goal like, hey, I'm going to go walk up and down the street twice. No, you have to set a goal that's going to be a little more challenging. But I think that with the same hours in the day, the people that set their priorities, that set their goals, and then are achieving them in the same hours we all have, they're achieving them and taking that 10-minute read break that you
Yeah.
were talking about. Maybe they're doing a workout break. You can't find 30 minutes in the morning, wake up an extra 30 minutes and work out. That's what I had to do.
Yeah, so my trainer that I've been working with, they have a podcast. It's called We Hack Health, or and it's a good listen, even if you don't use them as a trainer. And one of the things they called out on one of the more recent episodes is go look at your phone. Both Android and Apple phones now have like digital well-being, where it will tell you how much time you spend staring at your phone and how much time you
Right.
spend in each individual app. If you go look at that, I can almost guarantee that you can find 30 minutes a day buried in scrolling Instagram or scrolling
Yeah.
Facebook or LinkedIn. And a lot of my workout has been driven by, really pulling back. I rarely use Facebook anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been a little bit less active on LinkedIn, although that one hurts a little professionally and business wise. So I'm going to try to crank that one back up. But this comes down to priorities, right? Like
Yeah.
prioritize growth, and prioritize health, and prioritize the business over the dopamine hits you get from the endless scrolling on social media.
My wife has a smartphone, of course, but she didn't always, and she didn't want one. She goes, Why do I need one of those?" And now I find her looking with the kitchen table, kind of
Mm-hmm.
scrolling through, and it becomes an addiction, and
Oh
it
yeah,
takes us away from a priority that or
yeah.
something else we could do, a priority of getting in shape.
It's been increasingly bothering me, like when I'm trying to engage with somebody, because I'm doing it less, right? So
Mhm,
it's like now I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody, my wife or the kids or whatever, and
mhm.
they're just staring at their phone, and it's like be present.
I love it. That's true though.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, it's so true. And my wife has had to say that to me too
yeah.
because she'll be talking and she goes, "Did you hear what I just said?" Hours in the day, fun stuff to do with making parties, and I think you've got to make it somewhat fun,
Hmm.
challenging and fun because we don't want to do things that are mundane or boring, right? You were talking about having to do those scopes of work. That's
Yeah.
kind of mundane and boring, right? But it's got to be
Yeah,
done.
one of the traction library books called "How to Be a Great Boss." It's over there. I'm listening to it, so it talks about this concept of delegate and elevate, and it tells you to make a quadrant with 4 squares in it, right?
Hmm.
Like stuff you love to do and are good at, like to do and are okay at, don't like to do but are good at, and don't like to do and aren't good at. And it's like anything below that line, anything that you don't like to do, you should look to delegate, right? And so
Hire someone to do it.
eventually, I will delegate away some of the statement of work stuff. Right now, there's just no one to delegate it to,
Mhm.
so I'll end up doing some of it. But yeah, it's just a matter of spend your time and your energy and prioritize the things that move you forward and that you're good at, right? And
Mhm.
if you're a smaller shop and you're looking to hire, or you start to grow and you're successful, where you look to hire, and the priority hiring should be an area you're weak in,
Mhm.
right? So to get the stuff that you're bad at off of your plate. Now, that being said, if you're smaller than a 2 or 3 man shop, I would caution you from saying I suck at sales and hiring sales right out of the gate.
Right.
But uh, pretty much any of the other things, right? If you struggle technically on some of the more challenging things, hire a good tech. If you
Mhm.
struggle with the finance piece of it, hire a finance. If you suck at being organized, hire a damn admin, right? Like
Yeah.
it's prioritize the things you're good at while learning and expanding in the things you're not good at. So try to
Mhm.
continuously get better. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you just created a nice action item for anybody that's listening to this. There were some action points in that. Um, that's important. I'm gonna say that when setting the priorities, make them obtainable, right? Like we talked
Yep.
about, make them challenging though, and do them.
Yep.
And not you don't have to do all of them at the same time, but just make sure that you start to prioritize. Okay, what's my in my priorities? What's the first one? What's the second? What's the third? What's the fourth? And these are the things that we're going to get done. What do you have to say?
I would say on top of that, set yourself a stretch goal that's
Hmm.
really hard, and set yourself a good reward if you hit it, right? It's like
I like
I'm
that.
going to take a small vacation if I can hit 1.25% of our sales goal, right? Stuff like that,
That's
right?
good.
So give you something to work for after you hit that first goal, because the first goal
Right.
should be achievable, right? Make a less achievable goal and reward yourself if you hit it.
Stretch goals. We could go on forever on stretch goals. Well, everybody, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah,
And thank you, Jason. I'm enjoying having these
yeah,
conversations,
they're
and I
fun.
think we're starting to get a little more conversational in them, which is what people really want to see, because I think that's where reality happens, right? So, everyone, thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and until next week, right?
Yep. See you then.
All right.